The Ferrari 288 GTO Evoluzione. Ferrari built 5 of them in 1987 as homologation schedules for a racing series that never ran. The 2.8-liter twin-turbocharged V8 produced 650 horsepower in a car weighing 940 kilograms. Group B was the series it was built for. The FIA canceled Group B in 1986 after a sequence of fatal accidents made the category politically impossible to continue. The 5 Evoluziones were completed anyway. Ferrari retained all of them. In the United States, the car was never submitted for any certification process. There was no commercial reason to do so. The race series no longer existed, and the production volume of 5 made the cost of federal compliance economically irrational. All 5 exist in private collections. None have ever been registered for road use in any country. The Jaguar XJ220 S. TWR built 6 of them in 1993 as track-only derivatives of the standard XJ220. The twin-turbocharged 3.5-liter V6 was modified to produce 680 horsepower. Weight dropped to 1,150 kilograms. The reduction came from removing every component the road car carried that served comfort rather than performance. Air conditioning was gone. Sound deadening was gone. The interior became a competition specification environment. In the United States, the standard XJ220 had already created legal complications for buyers. The emissions equipment on European specification cars did not meet American requirements, and a group of buyers had pursued legal action against Jaguar when the market collapsed in the early 1990s. TWR had no interest in navigating that process a second time for 6 track cars. The XJ220 S was never submitted for American certification. The 6 examples were sold to buyers in Europe and the Middle East who understood road registration was not part of the transaction. The McLaren F1 LM. McLaren built 5 of them in 1995. The name referenced Le Mans. The F1 GTR had won the 24 Hours of Le Mans that year on its first attempt, finishing 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 13th against factory Ferraris and Porsches. The LM was built as a tribute to that victory. The 6.1-liter BMW S70 V12 was tuned beyond the standard road car specification to produce 680 horsepower by removing the rev limiter and recalibrating the engine management. The aerodynamic package was taken directly from the race car, a fixed rear wing of a size and angle that no road certification authority in any market would accept. In the United States, none of the 5 were ever road legal. McLaren made no attempt to certify them. Each was painted in the papaya orange of the winning Le Mans car. The 5 owners drive theirs exclusively at private track events. None have ever turned a wheel on a public road. The Mercedes CLK GTR. Mercedes built 25 road cars in 1998. The production run existed for one reason. The FIA GT Championship required manufacturers to build a minimum number of road-going versions of their race car to qualify for homologation. 25 was the number. Mercedes built exactly 25. The 6.0-liter naturally aspirated V12 produced 612 horsepower. The chassis was derived directly from the race car, a carbon fiber monocoque with suspension geometry and ride height calibrated for circuit use. In the United States, certification was not pursued. The noise output of the V12 in road trim exceeded the legal limit of every American state by a margin that made compliance modification impossible without fundamentally changing the engine. The 25 buyers were informed before signing their order agreements that American road use was not available. The price was $1.5 million per car. All 25 sold before the first example was delivered. The Porsche Carrera GT prototype. Porsche built one rolling prototype of the Carrera GT before production began in 2003. The prototype differed from the production car in multiple areas. The aerodynamic bodywork was in an earlier development state. The interior carried none of the safety equipment required for road use. The ceramic composite clutch that would later become notorious for its aggressive engagement behavior was in an early calibration stage. Porsche used the prototype exclusively for development testing across multiple circuits in Europe. When the production Carrera GT launched, the prototype was decommissioned and retained by the Porsche internal museum division. It has never been registered for road use. It has never been driven on a public road in any country. It exists as an engineering document rather than a vehicle. The Bugatti EB110 SS. Bugatti built 32 of them between 1992 and 1995 at the Campo Galliano factory in northern Italy. The quad-turbocharged 3.5-liter V12 produced 603 horsepower through a four-wheel drive system with 6 individual throttle bodies. The SS designation stood for Supersport. Weight was reduced to 1,350 kilograms through the deletion of air conditioning and sound insulation. In the United States, the EB110 SS was never federalized. The process of crash testing and emissions certification for a car being produced in this volume at this price point made the commercial calculations straightforward. The cost of American homologation would have represented a significant proportion of the revenue from the entire production run. Most of the 32 examples went to European buyers. Michael Schumacher owned one. The few that reached American ownership did so through the show or display exemption, a federal program that permits cars of historical or technological significance to be imported and driven on public roads for up to 2,500 miles per year. The Lamborghini Diablo GTR. Lamborghini built 30 of them between 1996 and 1998. The car was offered exclusively to existing Diablo owners who completed an approved driving training program before taking delivery. The 6.0-liter V12 produced 690 horsepower with all electronic driver assistance systems removed, no traction control, no stability management, no ABS. The aerodynamic package added a large fixed rear wing and a front splitter that extended beyond the dimensions any road certification standard would permit. In the United States, registration was never possible and never pursued. Lamborghini organized structured track events at circuits across Europe and Japan where owners could operate the cars properly. The 30 examples remain in private hands. Several have been converted to road specification by private owners in European markets where the modification process is possible under local regulations. The Gordon Murray Automotive's T50S Niki Lauda. Gordon Murray built 25 of them as the dedicated track variant of the T50 road car. Each example was named in honor of Niki Lauda, the three-time Formula One world champion who had died in 2019. The Cosworth GMA V12 was tuned beyond its road specification to produce 725 horsepower, with the rev limit raised to 12,100 RPM. The fan mounted at the rear of the road car, which managed underbody aerodynamics through active control of airflow, became in the track variant a device generating over 1,500 kilograms of downforce at speed. The interior was stripped to racing specification. A roll cage replaced the road car's safety structure. In the United States, neither the T50 road car nor the T50S track variant was ever certified for road use. Murray made the decision that the central seating position made compliant airbag placement impossible under American regulations and declined to modify the interior architecture. The T50S was built on that foundation. Road registration was never considered. The FXX. Ferrari introduced the FXX in 2005 as the track-only successor to the Enzo. The 6.3-liter V12 produced 800 horsepower, an increase of 160 horsepower over the road car it was derived from. Ferrari did not sell the FXX in the conventional sense. 29 were built. Each was offered to selected existing Ferrari customers at a price of approximately 1.5 million euros. Ferrari retained ownership of every example. The customer paid for the right to participate in Ferrari's XX program, a series of exclusive track events at circuits selected and managed by Ferrari, where the company transported, prepared, and maintained the cars. The customer arrived and drove. Ferrari stored the car between events. In the United States, the FXX was never road legal. Ferrari never submitted it for certification, and the ownership structure meant no individual customer held title to a car that could theoretically be registered. An Evolution variant, the FXX Evoluzione, followed in 2007 with aerodynamic and mechanical updates available to existing program customers. The Pagani Zonda Revolucion. Pagani built 5 of them in 2013 as the final and most extreme variant of the Zonda. The naturally aspirated 6.0-liter AMG V12 produced 800 horsepower in a car weighing 1,070 kilograms. The power-to-weight ratio exceeded every road-legal car available at the time of its introduction. Carbon titanium construction was used throughout the monocoque. The aerodynamic package generated downforce figures Pagani declined to publish on the basis that they considered the numbers difficult to contextualize for a general audience. In the United States, registration was never possible. The Revolution was designed without any reference to road certification requirements from the beginning of the development process. The 5 owners were each required to complete a driver evaluation program with Pagani's test team before being permitted to drive unsupervised. Pagani has not confirmed whether any conversion program exists for the Revolution variant. The Koenigsegg One 6 were built. The name described the engineering principle the car was built around: 1 horsepower for every 1 kilogram of mass. The twin-turbocharged 5.0-liter V8 produced exactly 1,340 horsepower in a car weighing exactly 1,340 kilograms. The ratio had never been achieved by any production car before it. Koenigsegg developed bespoke tires in collaboration with Michelin for the 1-to-1 because no existing tire construction could withstand the lateral and longitudinal forces the car generated at its performance limits. In the United States, the 1-to-1 cannot be driven on public roads. Koenigsegg never sought federal certification. The absence of airbags and the cost and complexity of conducting the crash testing program required for federal certification made compliance economically impossible for a vehicle at this price point and production volume. Koenigsegg built it as a record-breaking machine. The distinction between record-breaking machine and road car was one they accepted from the beginning of the project and stated openly. The 300-mile-per-hour attempt has been scheduled, postponed, and rescheduled multiple times. It has not yet been completed. The Noble M600. Noble is a small manufacturer based in Leicester, England. The M600 was their attempt to compete at the performance level of Ferrari and McLaren, using a fraction of those companies' engineering resources. The twin-turbocharged 4.4-liter V8 produced 650 horsepower in its highest configuration, in a car weighing 1,188 kilograms. The Noble had no traction control, no stability control, no ABS. Noble's stated position was that electronic driver assistance systems existed to compensate for inadequate driver skill, and that a competent driver did not require them. In the United States, the Noble M600 was never certified for road use. Noble made no significant attempt to pursue certification. The commercial return from American sales would not have justified the cost of federal homologation for a car produced in numbers that Noble measured in dozens rather than hundreds. The M600 remains available to order in European specification. American buyers who have acquired examples have done so through gray market importation under show or display provisions.